All right, so sorry for all of the technical difficulties, but I'm here with Sarah. She's a psychologist with Greater Baltimore Counseling Center, and you were actually in charge of the training for all of your staff to allow your practice to convert to a HIPAA compliant telehealth provider, right?
Correct. Yeah,
I
we've been doing it for over a year now, but at very small scale, just as our providers were interested in it.
Oh, okay.
Then with the emergency that hit, suddenly it
Mm-hmm.
became pretty clear that we all needed to have that mobility, an ability to continue seeing our clients. So we trained everybody in about a week.
That's awesome. Big undertaking. How many staff members do you have? She's fine. She's fine.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
She's singing. It's
my
fine.
4-year-old's hanging out.
She's fine.
So we're in 3 different locations. So
Okay.
we have an office in Glen Burnie, an office in Odenton, and an office in Timonium.
Okay.
And then between full-time and part-time staff, well over 50.
Oh, wow. So it's okay. It's a really big
Yeah,
practice.
not everybody is full-time.
Right.
But yeah, we have a good portion, and that's a mix of licensed clinical social workers,
Mhm.
licensed professional counselors, psychologists, and then we also have 3 psychiatric nurse practitioners that do
Okay.
medication management.
Gotcha. Awesome. So can you explain exactly what a telehealth practice looks like for those who've never used this type of feature before?
Sure. So it's kind of like what you and I are doing right now.
Hopefully less technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, sometimes you do get technical difficulties with telehealth.
Yeah.
That's one of the cons, I guess, of having telehealth is that you could have telehealth. Wait 1 minute, Maeve. And so basically you use, and if you were outside of the emergency that we're in right now, you would be using a HIPAA compliant video conferencing software.
Okay.
And there's a lot of different companies out there that do that. And it's like this. It's like FaceTime. But it's designed to protect your private health information. So it's
Right.
got certain encryptions and securities.
Gotcha. Awesome. So what technology is needed for an individual to receive telehealth services? Do they have to have a smartphone?
Right, yeah. So for most people, it's just having their smartphone or a laptop or a tablet or
Right.
a desktop that's connected to Wi-Fi or Ethernet or cellular data, so they can connect to the internet in some way, and that they have a webcam and a microphone and speakers enabled.
Great.
So I would say 90% of people, their smartphones at this point are well
Your best
beyond
option,
the
right.
technology that you need. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. So what is the cost, and does health insurance cover this?
Good question. So most health insurances cover telehealth,
Okay.
same as in person. So if a
Great.
person were seeing a therapist, in the office, telehealth would be covered. In the emergency, even more insurance companies are now covering it.
Great.
So Medicare is a good example of this. Medicare previously would not cover telehealth services in our area.
Right.
But last week they gave permission allowing people to use the telehealth modality.
Wonderful.
So I think everyone at this point.
Yeah.
There's a few self-insured plans out there that are hidden under Aetna or Cigna
Right.
that are holdouts, but that's not going to last very long.
Okay, great, awesome. I think you sent me a full list of everyone you're in network with, but it was pretty much all the major carriers, right?
Everybody except for United. We're
Okay.
out of network with United, so we can give you a slip and you could get reimbursed for that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, everyone except for that in medical assistance. We aren't in network with medical assistance, but we are with Medicare.
Okay, perfect, awesome. So how is telehealth impacting the community during this difficult time, would you say?
Yeah, I think it's keeping all of us safer for sure. Our offices right now are still open,
Okay.
and then so we are still giving a few clients that option to come in person if they need to, but we're really
Mhm.
pushing that away. And I think in the next couple days, or even, we just heard from Hogan at 11.
Right.
So I think at this point, we don't want anyone coming in just for their own safety as well as the safety of our providers.
Right.
And so we're asking people to use telehealth so that they can still receive their services,
Great.
but remain safe and have our providers remain safe as well.
Awesome. So I know there's a lot of services that your practice offers. So what is available through telehealth? Is it just counseling services, or those who are doing med management and that kind of thing, can they get guidance on that as well?
Yep, it's both.
Great.
So medication management as well as therapy. And it's not just individual therapy, it's also family therapy or marital counseling, all those different modalities.
Great. And you deal with adolescents and adults and couples and families, correct?
Yeah, we have some providers that go down, I think, as young as age 5.
Okay. And your practice has a lot of experience with ADHD, correct?
Yeah. We just recently we have Faye Park that joined us. So she's a psychiatric nurse practitioner. She was previously at Kennedy.
Oh, great. Okay.
And she's amazing. She does really great work with ADHD and children, adolescents, and as well as some adults as well, young adults.
Wonderful. Yeah, we've had a couple questions about that in our group. There's been, some of the kids are really struggling with the lack of routine and the changes. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So it definitely helps. So do you think telehealth services will remain in place after all of this comes to an end? I know you said your practice has kind of been doing it a little bit before.
Yeah, so I've been doing it for at least a year and a half now with some of my clients that have chronic medical conditions, so they can't come in or don't want to come in, or just convenience factors for certain people. And I think now that everyone has been forced to train and to learn this modality, and clients are being forced to use it so they can keep their services, people are going to like it. So I certainly expect it to continue on a much larger capacity beyond this. And most insurances cover it. I think Medicare will argue and fight, but I think it'll stay. Or they'll quickly. We've been working on an exception with Medicare for years anyway, so I don't think it's going anywhere.
Great. It doesn't sound like it's like a perfect replacement for in-person therapy, but I can imagine it's really helpful for those who have young children or busy work schedules and maybe can't quite fit it in.
Exactly. Yeah. So, or like transportation, if we have a snow day or, any of those kinds of things. And that is the majority for me as kind of a hybrid approach where they occasionally will come into the office and see me in person, but then other times we use telehealth.
Great.
Some people prefer only telehealth, and you're set up in such a way that you can do that as long as you find a way to establish that relationship ahead of time and get consent signed, things like that. But it's kind of up to the provider and the client what they prefer. Right.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so I know you can't speak for everyone, all the different practices that there are in this area, but with you guys specifically, is this service available to new clients or currently just your current clients?
Yeah, great question. So if you read the letter of the law, they want you to have an established relationship with a client prior to initiating telehealth services. So before the emergency, absolutely not. It was you had to come in and do an intake in person and make sure that you were appropriate and, get all the questions out there, and then you could initiate telehealth.
Right.
With the emergency, though, the different governing bodies and boards and regs and things are being adjusted to allow for that, because it's considered it's considered acute problems or issues these people are having. It's not routine care, so we don't want to push it off.
Great.
So you would have to speak with the different providers in each community to see what they're comfortable with. But I can tell you, our clinic for therapy, especially, we're finding ways to kind of talk to the person over the phone when they're scheduling their appointment to make sure that they're appropriate and to find a way to kind of establish that relationship so that we can do an intake via telehealth instead of otherwise we'd have to wait list them and say 1 month to I don't even know at this point when we can have an in-person session.
Right. And now more than ever there's a bigger need for mental health. We're all struggling, so you don't want to wait 2 months.
Yeah. And then for medication management, I've been talking to the board for them because they're under nursing. And so with their board, we're working out different ways in which we can consider that an established relationship so they can have intakes. And then be considerate and think about things like vitals. Certain medications require close tracking of weight and blood pressure and things like that.
Right.
So we're all kind of getting creative with that. I would tell people if that's a need that they have to still call providers in the area, still get appointments, because day to day, hour to hour, different things are adjusting, and we're finding ways to have access to care for people, not just our office, but lots of offices in the community.
Right. So if people want to get in touch with you, just they can still just give the main office number a call for Greater Baltimore
You got
Counseling
it.
Center.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So yeah, our website is golfbravoCharlie.com, gbcc.com for us. And our main line is still operational. People are still answering the phone. You can also find us on Psychology Today and click their email thing, and we're still responding to our emails. And I know all the other providers in the area. I think everyone is still working and working with their clients as well.
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for dealing with the technical difficulties and finding a way to make this work for us. I really appreciate it. Really valuable information.
Yep, happy to talk to you guys.
Thank you. All right, well, you enjoy the rest of your afternoon and be safe.
You as well.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.